The ancient Greeks didn't just tell stories about gods and monsters, they told stories about something far more terrifying. The power of fate. A force so absolute that even the mightiest heroes couldn't escape it. Kings would consult oracles, desperately hoping to avoid their doom, only to walk straight into it. Mothers would abandon babies to prevent prophecies from coming true, and those babies would grow up to fulfill them anyway. For centuries, scholars treated these myths as cautionary tales about hubris, warnings wrapped in poetry. But examinations of ancient texts reveal something darker. Fate in Greek mythology wasn't just a narrative device. It was a philosophy about the nature of reality itself, and it shaped how Greeks understood power, knowledge, and human agency. 1. Oedipus didn't stumble into tragedy by accident. Oedipus was trapped by fate from the moment he was born, and his entire story is one long, horrifying march toward an inevitable conclusion. A prophecy warned that he would kill his father and marry his mother. His parents, King Laius and Queen Jocasta, tried everything to prevent it. They gave the infant Oedipus to a shepherd to kill. The shepherd felt pity and gave the baby away instead. Years later, Oedipus killed a man in a random road dispute. He married the widow, Queen Jocasta, and became king. He was the man he'd killed. He was the man in the prophecy. He married her. The twist that seems impossible to miss now was completely invisible then. Oedipus was intelligent, resourceful, powerful, and utterly helpless. Every action he took to escape his fate only pulled him closer to it. He spent his whole life running from destiny and found himself exactly where the prophecy said he'd be. 2. The fates themselves were the embodiment of this absolute power. The fates, or Moirai, were 3 goddesses who controlled the thread of every life. Clotho spun the thread at birth. Lachesis measured its length. Atropos cut it at death. Not Zeus, not Poseidon, not any of the major Olympian gods could override what the fates had decreed. The most powerful king couldn't change his death. The greatest warrior couldn't extend his life beyond what had been measured. Humans begged. They sacrificed. They consulted oracles. The fates didn't answer prayers. They didn't negotiate. They didn't care about appeals or promises or desperate bargaining. Once the length was set, it was set. This wasn't just mythology. This was the ancient Greek explanation for why intelligence and power sometimes don't matter. Why good people suffer. Why planning fails. Why the universe seems fundamentally indifferent to human effort. 3. Cassandra possessed the gift of true prophecy, but her prophecies were cursed. Cassandra could see the future with perfect clarity. She knew Troy would fall. She knew the Trojan horse was a trap. She knew Agamemnon would betray and murder her. She knew everything. But Apollo had cursed her specifically so that no one would ever believe her. She'd rejected his advances, and his punishment was crueler than death. He gave her the ability to see the future while making sure that power was completely useless. Imagine knowing exactly what's going to happen and being powerless to stop it. Imagine warning everyone around you and watching them ignore you. Imagine seeing your own death coming and being unable to prevent it. Cassandra walked into Agamemnon's palace knowing he would kill her. Everyone else walked in blind. Her knowledge changed nothing. The future happened exactly as she'd foreseen it, and her accurate warnings became proof of nothing except her own helplessness. 4. Prometheus defied fate itself, and the gods tortured him for eternity. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. He wasn't following a prophecy or obeying fate. He actively chose to rebel against it, to stand against the natural order that said humans should remain inferior to the gods. Zeus punished him by chaining him to a rock where an eagle would come every day to eat his liver. His liver would regrow every night, and the eagle would return the next day. Forever. This wasn't a finite punishment with an end date. This was eternal torture, specifically because Prometheus had the audacity to think humans deserved better than what fate had decreed for them. Even his defiance, his most heroic act, just earned him infinite suffering. The fates had decreed his torture, and no amount of nobility could change it. 5. Ajax the Lesser raped a priestess in Athena's temple and thought he could escape justice as a war hero. Ajax was one of the most powerful warriors at Troy. He survived the entire war. He made it home, but Athena decided to destroy him anyway. She sent a storm that wrecked his ship. Sailors clung to rocks. Ajax boasted that he'd survive even without the gods' help. Poseidon split the rock beneath him, and Ajax drowned. The prophecy had been delivered. The punishment had been decreed. Ajax's strength meant nothing. His survival meant nothing. His arrogance in thinking he could escape the gods' attention meant everything. He'd offended them, and fate had already written the ending. The ancient Greeks understood something that modern audiences sometimes miss. In their mythology, fate wasn't something to overcome. It was something to accept and understand. Fighting it made it worse. Knowing about it didn't help. Power and intelligence and virtue couldn't change it. Fate in Greek mythology represents a universe that doesn't care about your plans. It represents the limits of human control. No matter how clever you are, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you deserve better, the fates will have the final word. This wasn't just entertainment. This was how the Greeks made sense of suffering and loss and the random cruelty of existence. So if you're ever wondering why ancient myths feel so dark and hopeless compared to modern stories, it's because they were written by people who understood that not everything has a happy ending, and not everything can be fixed by the hero's willpower. The power of fate was absolute, and acknowledging it was the only honest response. Subscribe if you want more mythology that reveals uncomfortable truths. And leave a like if you've ever felt trapped by forces beyond your control.